Thank you for joining, everybody. This is daily exercise number 8, and today is going to be a fun one because this is one of my favorite exercises. And while not being the most functional exercise for applying to the bandstand, it is fantastic for working on fundamentals. It hits a bunch of different fundamentals. So let me play the exercise right now so you know what it is, and then we'll talk about what's going on here. So there's the exercise there, and as you can hear, it's a little technical, but it's a fantastic exercise. It takes a little while to work it out, and playing in all 12 keys can be kind of a pain sometimes. It takes a lot longer to go through than most exercises we go over, but it's fantastic, and we're going to talk about why. So this really, at the heart of it, is a scalar exercise. It works on your major scales, but it does so in a way that's much more interesting and much more functional and useful to you as the player than just playing your major scales. Because playing your major scales gets really boring, let's not lie. Just playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 over and over and over again gets really boring. And then you also get stuck in a pattern where you're just playing them up and down, even if you're playing them throughout the scale of your instrument, like the whole range of your instrument. Even if you're playing them to altissimo and back down, you're still playing them the same way every time. So this gets you out of that. It gets you to play it in a different way. It also works on some like acrobatics, if you will, and it also works on your brain case a little bit. So the way you learn to play this exercise is you play ascending arpeggios starting on every scale degree of the scale you're in. So I'm in C, so I'm going to play an ascending major, or I'm going to play an ascending 7 arpeggio, a 7 chord, starting on the root, and then the 2, and then the 3, and then the 4, and then the 5, and then the 6, and the 7, and then we're back to the root. And you do that all the way up your horn, and then you do it all the way back down your horn. So for instance, I'm going to play one starting off the root. I'm in C, that's C, so that's a C7, or a C major 7 arpeggio. And then I go up a step in the scale, so now we're on the 2, and that 2 is a minor scale, so we play a 2 minor 7 arpeggio, or D minor 7 arpeggio. And then we move up a whole step, or we move up a step in the scale again to E, we play E minor arpeggio. And the E is the 3, so we move up to the 4, and the 4 is F, we play an F major or 7 arpeggio. And these are all diatonic of the scale. So I'm saying major and minor, I'm distinguishing what they are for a reason, and we'll talk about that in a second. So we move from the 4 to the 5. The 5 is a dominant, so we're playing in C. The 5 is G. And then we move up to the 6. The 6 is A. A is minor. And then we move up to the 7. The 7 is B. B is half diminished. And then we're back to where we started. So you play this up your horn and back down, similar to this. Etc., etc., etc. I don't want to play through everything. I don't want you sitting here watching me play saxophone for 15 minutes. So you learn that. You play all the ascending arpeggios. Then you play them descending. So you start descending, you start on the root, and you work your way down, and then you go up to the 2, and you work your way down. You go up to 3, and you work your way down. With the descending arpeggios, it's interesting. You're ending up a step above in the scale, a step above where you started. So if you start on the root and you walk down, you're going to end up on the 2. And the reason that is because you are walking down the arpeggio, because you're walking down in thirds of the scale, you're walking down the arpeggio that's a step above where you are. So if I start in C, I'm going to play 1, 6, 4, 2. So it's basically a 2 arpeggio in 4th inversion. If you guys know what inversions are, you're deep in the theory game. So you're playing a 2 minor arpeggio, but you're starting on the 7. So the C is a 7 of 2, you're walking way down. Then you go up to the 2. The 2 is what? It's the 7 of the 3. So then you walk down a 3 arpeggio, a 3-7 arpeggio. So it sounds like this. And that's C, A, F, D. And then you go up to D, and you play. And that's D, B, G, E. So you end up on the E. I'm sure that was out of tune. Etc., etc., etc. I'm not going to make you sit here. I'm not making you sit through me play through this whole scale. But then you combine them. You do an ascending arpeggio and then a descending arpeggio. Etc., etc. And you learn this at all 12 keys, and by the time you figure this out in one key, that scale is locked in. Let me tell you what, you know that scale inside and out. And then you move on to the next key, and you learn it in that key. And you'll start noticing a lot of these scale patterns when you're playing ascending and descending arpeggios, depending on where you start in your horn. end up being the same pattern with just alterations added, like sharps or flats added. Accidentals, if you will. That's the word I was looking for. If I get my brain to work. It's a little late tonight. So this exercise is great because it works on your arpeggios, it works on your scales, it also works on your modes, which I don't know if you've dug too much into modes, but I don't want to get too deep into it. But if you have a major scale, I don't know if you saw my music theory video, I'll put a link to it in the end, but I talk about the major scale, which is what we're playing these over. You can do this the same way over any major scale. Each scale degree of that scale, doesn't matter what scale it is, and doesn't matter what major scale, they all function the same way, that creates a chord, because that's how chords function. Chords are all derivatives of your major scales. But to take it away from chords to just relate it to your major scales, they came up with things called modes. And some people relate those to soloing. I don't like doing that because there's a lot more going on with chord changes than are going on in modes. Modes are directly related to your scales. But for those of you who don't know, there's 7 modes. There's Ionian, Dorian, Ionian, Dorian, yeah, I was right, I'm sorry. Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian, and then you're back to your top, Ionian again. It's been a minute since I've talked in modes, I had to remind myself. And these scales all have, or these modes all have qualities, and that quality is created by your major scale. So Ionian, major. Dorian, a lot of people know this, so if you talk about improvisation, they'll say play a Dorian mode. I don't know if you've heard that before, but that is a minor scale. It's got a flat 3 and a flat 7. And then you have Phrygian, which is the 3. These are related to your scale degrees, I should say. Ionian is 1, Dorian is 2, so I'm putting my fingers up. Phrygian is 3, that's a minor scale with a flat 9, a flat 3, a flat 6, and a flat 7. Then you have your Lydian, which is your 4, and that's a major scale, but it's got a raised 4 in it. So if we're in C, the 4 is F. If you're walking up F, F scale, F major, has a B flat in it. We're in B, the 4 of F is the 7 of C, and it would be B flat and F, and it's actually C, so I'm losing you, I'm sorry. So anyway, that's all you need. The 4 is Lydian, it's got a raised 4. The 5 is Mixolydian, this is, everybody knows it, 5, dominant Mixolydian. That one just has a flat 7. Then you've got the 6, which is Aeolian, also known as natural minor. That's another great scale, relates to chord changes quite a bit. That one's got a flat 3, a flat 6, and a flat 7. Then you've got Locrian, which is your half diminished, which as you heard me say earlier. And this one, interesting, it's got a flat 9, a flat 3, a flat 5, a flat 6, and a flat 7. Everything's altered really except for the 4, which makes it a very interesting scale and makes it very interesting color-wise for chord changes. But so it works on your modes. As you're playing through this, you're going to be playing your modes up and down, both descending your modes and ascending your modes, which also relates to chord changes. You're going to be playing up your chord changes and down your chord changes. And you're playing them directly related to your scales. When you get into your chord changes, they can be a little confusing because a lot of chord changes have alterations to make them resolve certain ways or to add color tones. These chord changes are directly related to, the chord changes you're playing in this exercise are directly related to the major scale. So there's no alterations going on. There are alterations for that chord, but it's all diatonic. So if you're thinking the key you're in, it doesn't matter where you're starting, you're all in C. So you can say, oh, I'm going to start in E, or I'm going to start in B. B normally has, 5 sharps. In this case, it's related to the C major scale, so no sharps or flats. So you can still play a C major scale, but you're playing B. See how weird that sounds when out of context, but you're just in C. So it's a wonderful exercise for that. You're working on your scales, your modes, your chord changes, your fundamentals, your arpeggios, and you're getting some acrobatics in, and you're thinking a lot. Because you can think about this in relation to your major scale. You can think about this in relation to your major scale if I can actually play the exercise. So there I'm thinking 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 6, 4, 2, 3, 5, 7, 2, 3, 1, 6, 4, 5, etc., etc. I'm just thinking about it in relation to the major scale. Or you can think about it in relation to your modes. I'm thinking Ionian, and then I'm thinking Dorian, and then I'm thinking Phrygian, and then I'm thinking Lydian, and then I'm thinking Mixolydian, and then Aeolian, then Locrian, and then Ionian again. And you can do that up and down the whole way. You can also think of it in relation to chord changes. So you can think major 7, minor 7, minor 7. So here, major 7, and then minor 7 with a flat 7 and a flat 3. Minor 7 again. It's got a flat 3, a flat 2, a flat 6, and a flat 7. And then you think major, but it's got a raise 4, or got a raise 4 because that's a 4. Then you think dominant, flat 7, we played it in the arpeggio. And then Aeolian, a 3, a natural minor, a minor 3, a minor 6, and a minor 7. And then Locrian, which is everything altered but the 4, a flat 9, a flat 3, a flat 5, a flat 6, and a flat 7. And then you're back to Ionian, major. So there's a lot of things going on here, and you can play these exercises through 4 times in a row and think about something totally different every single time. So once again, to recap, play this with our ascending arpeggios, learn the major scale, and then play the arpeggios. And then play the descending arpeggios. And then combine the two, ascending and descending. Etc. And then you do that in all 12 keys. And this one isn't as fast. A lot of these other exercises, once you get them down, you can play through them in 15 seconds or 30 seconds or 1 minute. This one takes, I don't know, probably 20 or 30 seconds, depending on how fast you want to do it, 20 or 30 seconds per scale. And there's still a couple of these. I've been playing this exercise since college, and I think I learned this when I was a freshman in college, which was, God, like 15 years ago. I've still been playing it, and there's still a couple of these scales that give me a hard time if I'm not really concentrating, like D flat or C sharp, depending on how you want to think about it. That one's a pain in the butt to play. A flat for me is a real pain with this scale to play. And G flat, F sharp. Those are all kind of a pain. Those 3 really are a real pain for me to play. Still, it's been like I said, it's been like 15 years. But it's a great exercise. That doesn't mean you shouldn't work on it. So there you have it. That's daily exercise number 8. It's a great exercise for working on fundamentals a bunch of different ways, and works on your fluency. And I know it's a pain in the to play, but trust me, it's worth it. It gives you a lot of fluency on your horn, and it gives you a lot of fluency with different keys. So pick a key and work on it for like a week. And then when you feel comfortable and you can play it through 5 or 6 times in a row without messing it up, I had to catch myself there, I almost said the F word. Or you can play it 5 or 6 times in a row without messing it up, move on to the next scale. But don't forget, you gotta come back and work on these or it goes away. So you have it, daily exercise number 8. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you all in the next one. Once again, I'm in B flat, which is concert, or I'm in, you son of a bitch. Thank you for joining me, everybody. This is daily exercise number 8, and today is going to be a fun one because this exercise is one of my favorites to work on. It's a real pain in the ass. Thank you for joining me, everybody. This is daily exercise. Thank you for joining me, everybody. Thank you for joining me, everybody. Thank you for joining me, everybody. This is daily exercise number 8, and today is going to be a fun one. Thank you for joining me, everybody. This is daily exercise number 8. Thank you for joining everybody. This is daily exercise number 8. Thank you for joining me, everybody. This is daily exercise number 8. Thank you for joining me, everybody. This is daily exercise number 8. Thank you for joining me, everybody. This is daily exercise number 8. Thank you for joining me, everybody. This is daily exercise number. Thank you for joining me, everybody. 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 Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me.